I wasn't trying to show off my shirt. I was pulling it down. So just wanted you to know that, Dad. Um, because I don't really care. I mean, I like the shirt, but I'm always doing something with my shirt in this channel. I don't know. Anyway, which is funny because like I got a bunch of followers because I was talking about doing naked yoga, but actually I don't think it was because of the nudity. I think it's because of the artistry. This is my art channel. Anyway, you don't have to subscribe because you'll probably see me naked on it if YouTube approves it. But anyway, um, Dave came over today and his daughter was having her baby shower. And I didn't want to go because, you know, I don't like leaving the house anymore, but I wanted to go. So I painted for a little bit to, like, like get my mind completely off of it and not at all stressed out. And then I spilled paint everywhere on me, not everywhere. But anyway, so then I was worried about cleaning up the paint and I was like, this is good. This is awesome. I'm doing exactly what I need to do. And then he showed up and then I didn't have time to finish cleaning up and then we had to go. There's some strange sounds going on with it. Anyway, you think this place wants to be a rehab, and I had the initial thought too, but I guess I don't know how you hear God. You never really talked about how God told you to move into the middle of nowhere with your wife and children and build a house when you didn't know how to build a house and shower in the rain because we didn't have running water and all that bullshit. But I know that God doesn't tell me things up front. She shows me. Um, and I like to pretend that she's like that I'm a little kid wearing pigtails and she's the big fat black stereotypical cook from like early America where she's teaching me what I need to know and she swats at me with a fly swatter every once in a while because usually there's flies on me when this is happening too because I'm outside a lot but I like that imagery because it's so not racist and it's so much more like what I imagine and this is what she tells me that real life was like back during like slavery that it was family and that the children were actually raised by that mama and that the white mama was more like social elite, kind of like doing that kind of thing. And then she had her young black girl who was helping her. And so it was funny because they were like swapping roles. So like black mama was raising little white babies and I really like thinking about things that way because then I remembered when I was getting my Daughter of the American Revolution scholarship. I think that was where it was because there was a gentleman there who was talking about how he was black and he wasn't black, but he was so black. Like, and you could hear, like, I remember I closed my eyes at one point and I was like, he sounds black, which, like he had a much deeper tone and he sounded just, he had so much more wisdom in him, which I feel like the black community kind of holds in them. And that's, anyway, I'm going to deal with that on a different topic because I just remember that this is public. And so anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, I've dealt with some racial issues lately, and I'm white, and I know I'm white, and I don't need to be reminded by white supremacists that I'm white, but I also don't need to be told who I can and cannot date or who I can and cannot adopt as children, and I'm living in my home. So, Dad, you got to hear God and follow Him when you were 30 something and you married my mother and you gave up your children and you lived this life that you had. So I'm begging you, please stop trying to control mine because, first of all, you ain't it. You ain't God. If you think that, then I really am going to drive you to your doctor because you actually have lost your mind. But see, I'm saying this because I know you have not lost your goddamn mind. And I know that it's hard to let your baby go and trust that she's going to be okay. Trust me. I wake up a lot of nights screaming for my children. Dave has unfortunately had to hear that. I was screaming for Landon. And I pray that that's not Landon screaming, trying to wake Keith up out of his fucking sleep apnea. But anyway, I have to just pray and trust that God's got them. And I've been told every worst case scenario. The other day, I really honestly believed, and I was sober, that the kids were wandering down 130 trying to remember where the brick house was. And I just started cleaning like a freaking retard. And I was bumbling everywhere, and I remember, but everything was perfect immediately after. And I was like, oh, that helped a lot, because I just kept thinking, okay, and when they get here, oh God, there's glass. Oh, there's broken glass everywhere. And I kept like thinking, oh my God, and they're walking down a street and then there's cars, and then I bet they're conking like they're little tiny puppies. And this is like Homeward Bound, but there's no cat, and the cat knows what the fuck is going on, and they don't have a cat. And then I'm like, wait a second, there's broken glass. You got to clean up the broken glass, because when they get here, they'll be fine until they step on that, and then they're going to hit an artery. And then I'm like, yes, got to go. And then I'm back. And then I lose myself again, and then I come back. And then I lose myself again, and then I come back. And that's every day for me. And to be quite honest with you, I don't need to explain my drug use to you, because I'm an adult. If you don't want drugs on your property, cool. I have that as a rule. That was the rule of my old house too. It was printed on the front door. It was actually right near this picture, because I stole this from Courtney. And it was very, very well defined, and everyone had to sign it when they came in. And I remember a bunch of people had a really hard time with it, because they were like, are you going to show this to the cops? I was like, yes. And then the cops are going to be like, oh, look, so-and-so has a felony, but they agreed that they weren't going to have drugs here. So if anybody has drugs here, it's Robbins. Do you hear what I did there? Which you and I are both like, yeah, Robin got fucked. But I did that because I knew Dakota would throw me under the bus. He sure as fuck did. It said, they're not mine, they're hers. And I said, doesn't matter, see, because it says these aren't allowed on my property. And if Robin finds them on me, blah, 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 she's calling the cops, blah, 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 blah. So since I didn't call the cops, I went ahead and the cop was like, I'll explain it to him, he's retarded. And I was like, thanks. Because I was like, because I can't even right now. And the guy was like, you didn't need to throw her under the bus. She basically claimed it right there in number 2. But number 4 says, be a gentleman, and you're not being one. So I'm going to take you downtown. And I was like, yeah, thank you. So I don't like this journey either. I hate parts of it, and then I love all of it because it's mine. And I feel like if Muslims get like 77 virgins or whatever, if that's what they're into, I get to swim in a bowl of ice cream for all of eternity. But it's warm for me, but the ice cream's cold. We're just going to have to see how heaven turns out. But that's pretty much it for me. So, this house, I was going to kind of start defining it on this. But I'm not going to. Not because I'm wrong this time, but because I'm so right. This needs to be a secret house. And I've already told everybody where I live. So we have to get another house. Well, you don't have to. I have to work on it myself. But just like how you can't just drop me off at the YWCA even though you want to on a moment's notice, because it's a secret hiding place for women who are trying to escape abusive relationships. That's another thing that I thought was funny, that you wanted to drop me off, and I was like, oh, he's admitting it. He's the abuser. Because you've been very, very verbally abusive to me. I don't know why. I know that it's easy to pick on the person who's being picked on. when everyone's picking on her. But to like sit there and call me crazy and then lie about stuff when I have witnesses like that, it just hurts. It's just hurtful. So there are people watching now, so I'm gonna go because I don't know why they're watching this anyway. But this house is essentially they hung up. Anyway, they got off the station. This house is gonna be a sober house, yes. So yes, it's not a rehab, Dad. Not everything is a rehab. You have to stop with the rehab stuff, or I'm gonna throw you in rehab, which is called a nursing home. Did you know that? That's where Keith lived. That's why they kicked him out after 6 weeks. Because he's a fucking 30-year-old living in a nursing home. I swear to God, someone's knocking. Anyway, it's gonna be a safe house for women, and young women and women who use drugs. And that, by the way, by definition, which I do, I always have drugs at this house. It's called Narcan. Because if somebody shows up here with an overdose, because they know, like I've actually had somebody who killed somebody. They know they can come to me and I'm going to give them advice and I'm not going to call the cops on them because I don't judge. And I don't. But that's why I have really, really scary people hanging out with me. But if I'm their go-to, then you don't have to worry about me. You see what I'm saying? And I literally am that for this area. For pretty much everybody. I had a new scary individual at my house. And he was like, shit, I like what you got to say about God. And I was like, thanks. He's like, I think you're hearing Satan though. I was like, me too. And he's like, wait. I was like, they're kind of the same thing when you think about it, like a marriage. And then as I explained it, and Brennan sat there for a second, like kind of like kicking rocks because he was like upset that I was talking about God with somebody else. And then he was like, by the way, we all sat there and prayed. Me and 3 huge 6'4" dudes who all looked like they could just like and like pop me like a zit. And then little Destiny, who actually runs the show, and the kid who stole my phone was pouting in the other room because he still can't make eye contact with me. And I was like, I know you stole my phone. Stop making guilty eyes. Just give it back. I still don't care. I still know you haven't sold it because you cannot sell an iPhone because you cannot unlock it. Retards. Anyway. This isn't gold, but I think it's copper, which is still a copper mine. Still money. Anyway. I love you. I missed you, but I have enjoyed our hiatus from each other. I hope that God has spoken to you. I know that He has. I know that she's been talking to me. The other day, she was mad at me because I was laying in bed and she kept waking me up with stupid mosquitoes buzzing in my ear. I don't believe that it's the government, even though one of my friends told me that they think it's the government. I said I think it's God, or else just bugs. But they were insisting it was the government. And I said, you need to lay off the dope. I do say no to dope. I do say yes to dope. I do not spend money on dope when I can help it. Actually, I don't spend money on dope at all. Because I want milk. If you would just bring me some fucking milk. That's all I wanted. Was some milk and some cereal. You wouldn't do that. Anyway, Dave stopped pretend snoring, so I guess he's really awake, trying to listen to what I'm saying. So I'm going to go. But the baby shower just kind of confirmed a few things for me. And I am going to lose my license. Just like how you had to give up being a lawyer in DC to do what you had to do. I've got to give up my greatly esteemed position for a while. So I am going to, just like with the nursing board, I'm going to contact Ilka, or not Ilka, I got to contact people. I know what to do. I'm a grown-up. I was raising 2 kids. And as you said, you did it so well. Even I was kind of jealous of you. I know that's why all of you wanted me to fail. I know that's why everyone except you lied in court and to CPS about me. Because I've met me, but in the 19-year-old form, and I made her cry too. There's something about us. You're like, she's too perfect. I hate her. Fuck her. And yeah. And then you pinch them. And then they cry. And you're like, oh, good. There he. Okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to. So you made me cry a lot. You've literally starved me a lot. I literally weigh less than 100 pounds and actually cannot keep anything down anymore. A lot. It sucks. It hurts in every way. But that was part of my journey, I guess. So I'm sorry that you played such a devastating role, but I forgive you. So stop holding that in and stop hating me for forgiving you. Somebody's here. For real now. Love you. Bye.